I call this session 7 different stages of grief. Family members and friends go through many different stages of grief when they realize their loved one experienced same-sex attractions. Joe Dallas mentions these grieving stages in his book, When Homosexuality Hits Home. And just for the record, though I fully agree with all the stages that he's mentioning, I have never agreed with his involvement with Exodus International USA and their techniques of fixing gay people. But I did find all these grieving stages very helpful. Please understand, as family members and loved ones, when gay comes home, you will experience many, if not all, of these various stages of grief. It's important to recognize where you are at. Give yourself time and don't try to rush the process. Grieving tends to involve the following stages. The first one is guilt. What did I do wrong? Many parents try so hard to figure out what went wrong. They will often blame themselves. I think this is a natural response that parents have, because most parents have dreams for their children. When something like this happens, it is common to wonder, what did we do something wrong bringing up our child? Number 2, it feels like he died. When listening to people describe their feelings about a homosexual loved one, death is the word that I hear the most. Of course, words like shock, fear, confusion are used as well. But the phrase, "it feels like he died," comes up more often than others. I have heard many parents say, "it would have been better if he was never born," or "it would be better if he died." I quote Angela Yuang from her book, the same book that I've quoted earlier in my sessions. If I can just get my glasses on again. So she's the mother of Christopher Yuan, and so they wrote this book together. And she is saying the following when he told her that he was gay. Where is page 14? Receiving news of his death would have been easier to accept than all of this. I was overwhelmed by the reality that my son was gay and didn't want to change. Our family was broken and my life was falling apart. Every dream I'd had for years, for my marriage, for my sons, for my future, was gone. I could see no more reason to live. I was certain that I'd have no satisfaction or happiness in this world. I saw only sadness, disappointment, and rejection, and I wanted no more of it. The third phase that you may go through is denial. Denial kicks in when we are confronted with something unacceptable, something widely contrary to the expectations and dreams that we have. This is what you will say: "He can't be gay." Or, "Can you please help my family member? He's confused." Or, "He thinks that he's gay." The next grieving stage is anger. When it sinks in that the unthinkable is true, anger is a common response. Remember, I told you about my mom. When she discovered that I was gay, her first reaction was to write me out of her will because she was angry. And just for the record, we have reconciled many, many years ago. But at that point, that was her first reaction. and it is kind of a common response. I get many phone calls. It goes like this. My son just came out of the closet. He says he's gay. I am going to kill him. This can be the most destructive of all the grief stages. So for the sake of everyone involved, be careful how you react. And if you already reacted in not such a good way, you will need to say that you are sorry. I've known many parents who, out of their own rage, told their sons and daughters that they'd rather see them dead than gay. So again, be careful. There's nothing wrong with anger, but a great deal of wrong comes from misusing it. Paul told the Ephesians, he said, when angry, do not sin. Do not ever let your wrath or your exasperation, your fury or indignation last until the sun goes down. There's the challenge. 2 Timothy 2, verse 24 to 26 says, refuse to get involved in inane discussions. They always end up in fights. God's servant must not be argumentative, but a gentle listener and a teacher who keeps cool, working firmly but patiently with those who refuse to obey. You never know how or when God might sober them up with a change of heart and turning to the truth, enabling them to escape the devil's trap where they are caught and held captive, forced to run his errands. The fifth grieving stage is bargaining or negotiation. He is gay, so now what? Let's go back to the word again. Paul encourages us and he says, if possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Romans 12:18. And a better translation says it like this. Get along with each other. Don't be stuck up. Make friends with nobodies. Don't be the great somebody. Don't hit back hard. Discover beauty in everyone. If you've got it in you, get along with everybody. Don't insist on getting even. That's not for you to do. I'll do the judging, says God. I will take care of it. Notice he did not say agree with all men or force all men to agree with you. Nor did he say, no matter what, live peacefully with all men, even if they make outrageous demands on you. Paul's words are reasonable, as much as possible, with believers and non-believers alike. We should try to maintain peaceful relations. And peace often requires negotiation or naming the negotiables. Here is one. If I was married and I had kids, this is what I would want to teach my children. I would teach my kids that sex is only moral and normal when it's between a husband and a wife. If you disagree, can you please respect that when you come into my home? So that is a negotiable. All negotiables can be summed up with one general question. Under what terms are we going to continue to have a relationship? Whatever answers you come up with, you'll probably arrive at them through negotiation. This requires communication. And most importantly, listening to the heart of the individual and not getting caught up in the politics of the issue. And that's what makes this the most constructive part of the grieving process. Getting caught up in the politics make us focus on the elephant in the room instead of remembering that regardless of what happened or how it happened, Jesus wants to restore and heal the brokenness, even if it means He needs to take us back into our mother's womb. The sixth stage is depression. In this stage, you may say, he is gay, I am miserable. And you may not know how to get from the one point to the next. That is when God says, hop up and grab on. Your job is not to figure out how or when the situation will change. Rather, it is to draw close to Him and let Him get you where you need to be. Remember to abide in the vine, because without Him, we can do nothing. It's vital that you remain connected to God through His Word so that He can get you from one point to the next in this very complicated time. And the last grieving stage is acceptance. In this final stage, you still grieve and you still wait for God to continue to work. But finally, you also accept, and you can come to the point of saying, He is gay, I love Him, life can still be good. You are able to accept because being closer to God than ever, your faith and patience have been strengthened. You learn to enjoy your gay loved one without ever approving of practicing homosexuality. And in doing so, your confidence grows into the point where you, having committed this loved one to God, can say with more confidence than ever, I can now rest in Him. I will pray and I will do my part, and the rest is up to God. I know He can do impossible things, and in His timing.